Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat at malagayang araw ng kalayaan. Happy Independence Day, everyone. Welcome to today's review on what is happening. The major event to be aware of today is the most obvious, Tropical Depression Butchoy, which was issued by Pagasa at 2 a.m. today and again at 5 a.m. Butchoy is causing havoc in several provinces, with floods observed in Rizal, Pampanga, Batangas, Zambales, and other areas, so be careful if outside today. If you or family are traveling, make sure someone is aware of when you're traveling and when you should arrive. Also remember, do not try to drive through water if you cannot see the bottom, and you should never try to drive through running water as well. Even a few millimeters of water can really cause hydroplaning. If you're not familiar, that's essentially when the tires start floating on the water, and it can get picked up and moved to either the side or it can just float off. If you're driving and you lose total control of your vehicle, this can be a very scary situation. This is when you can end up losing control and running into a wall. Your vehicle can flip. You can end up running into other people, whether they're drivers or pedestrians. So you want to be careful and try not to drive through water. If you cannot see the ground beneath it, don't drive through it. And if it's moving water, do not drive through it either. Now I want to cover a quick update for online sellers. According to the Bureau of Internal Revenue, they're going to be enforcing collection of people who do online business whose sales net income exceeds 250,000 pesos a year. According to the Internal Revenue spokesman, Harry Roque Jr., he said, "So yun po ang sagot," that's the answer. If your online business net income does not exceed 250,000 pesos, wala naman kayong babayaran, so magrehistro na po, you don't have to pay. So you should register your business. Essentially, because if you are not exceeding 250,000 pesos, you don't have to pay taxes. They're saying you should register anyways. Previously, the enforcement has not been so strong. However, it looks like with the lack of revenue that the Bureau has been receiving the past few years, they'll probably be increasing it. As a matter of fact, I would pretty much anticipate that this upcoming year is going to have a lot of enforcement, especially because all the government agencies are short on cash. No one has money right now. And so if you are making money online, you need to make sure this year that you are getting it squared away, because I would keep an eye out. Over the next couple years, I would start to see solo people, those who are selling on Facebook and Twitter and other places. You can start to see that the Bureau is going to be coming after you. You do not want to be the one who's taking the hit from the Bureau when that happens. The last ongoing development I want to talk to you about today is a big one. And I know it can be scary at times, but right now we're seeing throughout Asia a really slow but ongoing push to silence people, both journalists and the average person. This isn't exactly new for the region, but it is starting to get kind of concerning. With the Communist Chinese Party's crackdown in Hong Kong, Nanjing, Jiangxing, with all that continuing, there really seems to be a tightening of control by the CCP leader, Xi Jinping. They've been using everything from rubber bullets, gas weapons, sonic weapons, and even live ammunition on civilian demonstrators. People have died, people have been arrested, they've disappeared, forced suicide, and even taken back on trains to mainland China. There is footage of so many heartbreaking incidences, from people being pushed out of windows to others just being pepper sprayed for no reason, others protecting their families when they're doing nothing wrong. There's just so many people missing right now, and it really speaks out about how the leaders feel about those who speak out against the leaders. When Xi Jinping and his leaders of the Communist Chinese Party are okay with this, with it continuing on year after year, it really speaks volumes. With the Chinese creating islands in the Philippine Sea and claiming that territory as China's, the threat potential for Philippines is alarming and fast growing. China has taken places in the middle of the ocean and created entire airstrips. I'm not sure how well widespread this is known, but China is building islands in the Philippine Sea where they have built airstrips, landing pads, naval stations, laboratories, anything that they can do to basically legitimize their claim over that. If we wait too long, they're going to say, listen, we have an entire city built here. You can't just come in here and take that. And the Chinese military is going to defend it. Already they have fired live rounds at people who have come near. It's been different countries, not just Taiwan, not just Philippines, but different naval ship crewers have reported this, and even local passenger ships. So, with everything going on, it's becoming a crisis very fast. And considering the economic impact from the global economy slowing down the past few years and the fact that COVID this year is really going to hammer home, we can expect to see a lot of tensions over the next few years. North Korea is on the verge of collapsing due to all the economic sanctions, and even the money funneling through China can't sustain it for long. Japan is currently suffering from an aging crisis where nearly a third of its country is at retirement age or nearing retirement age. And their economy has been slowing down as well, just nationally, not even globally. Globally too, but nationally, Japan. So they're going to have a lot of issues on their hands. I don't think that the Philippines are going to have a whole lot of options from the north. South Korea is going to be busy with North Korea. Japan has its own issues. I think that Philippines is going to have to stick with the Southeast Asia, the countries of Southeast Asia, and I think that each of them need to rely on each other. It really feels like Indonesia, Taiwan, Thailand, Myanmar, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Philippines, all the countries in this area, you all have to stick together right now because this is going to be it. This is the time. If China is willing to crack down on its own citizens, and South Korea is always so vehement and so willing to press the button, you have to defend yourselves. And it's going to come to a point where you actually may have to stick together. China may be physically large, and yes, it has a lot of people. However, China can't survive without outside influence. Part of everything China does is to gain influence, to gain power, to gain control. And of course, that's what most countries do, but China does it in a very intelligent way to the point where countries need China. And of course, if all countries in Southeast Asia band together and say, no, you cannot have this Philippine Sea, this is open for everyone, or if anyone, the Philippines, if you all stick together, China will have to back down. They can't take on every country. They may be big, they may have a huge military, but they can't do that. For the simple fact that alone is going to generate basically World War III. Once you pull in all these countries into a conflict, their supporting countries are also going to jump in. The United States itself has they've already navigated their own aircraft carriers near these islands as a testing of the waters, if you will. Not to be literal, but there is that potential that China could one day decide you're too close and they can shoot back. Or they can shoot and that can engage in a conflict. So very quickly, lines are being drawn, and with this anti-terror bill passing through the House, and with Duterte's slated to sign it soon, really the Philippines can be on two sides of the conflict. The Philippines could be on the Chinese side, where we see what's happening with that, or Philippines can be on the opposite side. It doesn't have to be a China versus Philippines. That's just what the CCP is currently building it up to be. And unfortunately, Duterte seems strong-willed, bent to be on the side of Xi Jinping. With everything happening, the protests today on Independence Day of all days, it's really a good time to reflect where we might be soon, where China's influence and others' influences might spread. They said in China, stand with Hong Kong or become Hong Kong. I'm starting to wonder how true that is for everyone, not just in mainland China. Could it happen in the Philippines? Could it happen in the US? Could it happen in Europe? It basically already is. But we'll have to see what happens in the future. Stay safe, everyone.